When it comes to Mackenzie Shirilla and her little posse of supporters over there, let me tell you, there's only two little arguments that they can come up with, and they've both been debunked in and out of court over and over again. So we're going to have to go over this again. First argument from her supporters, and especially mommy dearest Natalie, is, oh, the car was malfunctioning. Had to be a car malfunctioning. In fact, I think that car was even recalled at one point. Yeah, the car was having some issues. First of all, it wasn't that year of that car and that model, but even if there was a problem, all the problems indicated from Toyota, none of them ever floored the gas pedal down to the floor and didn't take it off and had to go 100 miles per hour while navigating a winding road perfectly fine until you crashed into a freaking brick building. Not to mention, during that whole little ordeal, after navigating the winding road, someone in that car, according to the black box information, because we have that, someone put it into neutral. I think one of the boys in there wanted to try to save their lives before she smashed into the wall. Put it into neutral, and someone slammed it right back into drive. I wonder who might have done that. Then you present the black box information and debunk that whole narrative, and then suddenly it goes to POTS. She's got POTS, guys. Mackenzie's got POTS disease. That explains everything. We can let her go now, let her out of jail. First of all, I'm not sure if you guys remember, but when she was up in the hospital talking to the investigators, her and her mom using a little circus language or little derivative of pig Latin, whatever they use, she asks, maybe, can we just tell the police that we had a seizure or that I had a seizure? That's not something an innocent person does. I also find it just a little bit funny that before the crash, there was no POTS incidents ever reported or documented. And then afterwards, since the crash, no documents or any reportings of any symptoms from POTS whatsoever. It just happened once during the crash. Can't be proven, nothing at all. Plus, even if you do just a little bit of research on POTS, and I know people that have the POTS disease, one of them is not your body going completely stiff and flooring the gas pedal and, navigating the winding road perfectly fine, and then crashing into a building and you're just sitting there stuck like this and you can't move your feet, can't do anything. No, usually what POTS does is, from what I understand of it, you get up off of a seat or you stand up and you start to feel like you're fainting or you do faint. Your body usually goes limp and you kind of relax. It's not something your body just goes haywire and just starts going stiff and, firing on all cylinders with your muscles and slamming a gas pedal that you can't even take your foot off the gas or put on the brakes, but you can still navigate a winding road going into the building. How convenient. And also, like I said, Natalie, Mackenzie's mother, is the only one that reported anything about this POTS incident and this POTS diagnosis. There's no diagnosis from a doctor. There's no diagnosis from a physician. There's no reports of any previous incidents regarding this whole POTS narrative. The POTS just kind of came out of thin air after the whole car debunked narrative and the car malfunctioning narrative got debunked, and they needed something else. So now they're going to go with POTS disease, which does a disservice to people that actually do have POTS disease. And I know plenty of them that do, and believe me, they have pissed off that community to no end. So Natalie, if you're watching this, you are not a physician and you cannot diagnose your own daughter and self-report that, your daughter has POTS, and you have no physician, you have no doctor, you have no diagnosis for her whatsoever from anyone that's credible that could ever be put into the law field. And that's probably why the state of Ohio and their Supreme Court system probably said, we don't even want to look at your case. You guys are a bunch of liars. And one thing I absolutely love about Mackenzie and her mother, Natalie, is they are the own worst enemies. They are their own worst enemies because even though they've mentioned many times in those jail phone calls, which are coming out and spilling out by the day, by the way, I absolutely love it, is they are fully aware that these calls are being recorded, and yet they still just can't help themselves. They still have to just blah, 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 run off at the mouth. Some of the most horrific stuff, calling their victims, a whole bunch of evil people, you know what I mean? Just to brag about Kim Kardashian coming to the rescue, all this really nasty, remorseless stuff. And again, I find it really fascinating that they're fully aware that these are being recorded, yet they just go out and spew this anyway. It's very fascinating. So at this point, for the Mackenzie Shirilla train of little rare supporters, I'm very interested to see what excuse number 3 is going to be, because car malfunctioning, fail. POTS, fail. And then I don't know where she's going to go now. The Supreme Court said bye-bye. So, I don't know where it's going to go from here, but I really hope they start, continuing to talk over the phone, because they're totally making themselves look innocent talking over the phone with each other. But one thing I'm absolutely loving is Christina Russo, Dominic Russo, one of the victim's sisters. who's known as the Big Sister Unhinged on YouTube. She's absolutely great, and she's trying to get Dom's Law passed, which is kind of like an expansion of the Son of Sam law, where somebody that's behind bars or convicted of murder or some horrific crime cannot profit off their crime or become famous off their crime. And that's hopefully is going to be retroactive and apply to Miss Gypsy Rose Blanchard as well. So let's pray for that. In the meantime, hey, Mackenzie supporters, you can stay delusional, but at the end of the day, I don't know what excuse number 3 is going to be, but I'm looking forward to hearing what it is.